Shankaturyam Ridanganam Beridamarinam Mahan Hastyashvaratapatinam Nadatam Nisvano Bhavat Shankaturyam Ridanganam Beridamarinam Mahan Hastyanashvaratapatinam Nadatam Nisvano Bhavat Shankaturyam Ridanganam Beridamarinam Maham Hastyashvaratapatinam Nadatam Nisvano Bhavat.
Shankaturyam Ridangana Eridamarinamaha Hastyashvaratapatina Nadatam Nishvano
Bhavat. Shankaturyam Ridanganam Napatinam Nadatam Nisvano Bhavat. Hare Krishna. Shankha of conch shells, Turya of big bugles, Mridanganam and of drums, Bheri of bugles, Damarinam of kettle drums, Mahan grand and tumultuous, Hasti of elephants, Ashva of horses, Ratapatinam of fighters on chariots or on the ground, Nadatam, all of them making sounds together, Nisvanaha and tumultuous sound, Abhavat, so became. Translation. The sounds of the conch shells, bugles, drums, berries and damaris, kettle drums, as well as the sounds made by the elephants, horses and soldiers who were both on chariots and on foot, were tumultuous. We'll continue with next verses because there is no purport. Ratino ratibis tatra patibi saha pataya hayahayai iba chebai samasajanta san yuge. On that battlefield, the charioteers fought with the opposing charioteers, the infantry soldiers with the opposing infantry, the soldiers on horseback with the opposing soldiers on horseback, and the soldiers on the backs of elephants with the enemy soldiers on elephants. In this way, the fighting took place between equals. Text number 9. Ushtrai kechit ibhai kechit apare yuyudhu karai kechit gaura mukair rikshair vipibhir haribir bhata. Translation. Some soldiers fought on the backs of camels, some on the backs of elephants, some on the asses, some on white-faced and red-faced monkeys, some on tigers, and some on lions. In this way, they all engage in fighting. Text 10 and 12. Gridrai kankar bakair anye shena basai stimin gila sharabai mahishai katgair govrishare kavararyu nai shivabir akubi kechit krikala sai shashair narai bastar eke krishna sarai hansar anye cha sukarai anye jala stala kagai satvai vikrita vigrahai senayor ubayo rajan vivi shush te grato grataha. Translation. O king, some soldiers fought on the backs of vultures, eagles, ducks, hawks, and bhasa birds. Some fought on the backs of timingilas, which can devour huge whales, some on the backs of sharabas, and some on buffalo, rhinoceroses, cows, bulls, jungle cows, and arunas. Others fought on the backs of jackals, rats, lizards, rabbits, human beings, goats, black deer, swans, and boars. In this way, mounted on animals of the water, land, and sky, including animals with deformed bodies, both armies faced each other and went forward. Text 13 and 15. Chitradvaja patai rajan ata patrai sita malai mahadhanair vajradandair vyajanair barha chamarai vatodhutaro snishai archibir varma bhushanai spuradbir vishadai shastrai sutranam surya rashmibi devadanava viranam dvajinyau pandunandana rejatur vira malabhir yadasam iva sagarau. Translation. O king, O descendant of Maharaj Pandu, the soldiers of both the demigods and demons were decorated by canopies, colorful flags, and umbrellas with handles made of valuable jewels and pearls. They were further decorated by fans made of peacock feathers and by other fans also. The soldiers, their upper and lower garments waving in the breeze, naturally looked very beautiful, and in the light of the glittering sunshine, their shields, ornaments, and sharp, clean weapons appeared dazzling. Thus the ranks of soldiers seemed like two oceans with bands of aquatics. Text 16 and 18. Vairo chano bali sankye sosuranam chamupati yanam vaihaya san nama kamagan maya nirmitam sarva sangrami kopetam sarvascharya mayam prabho apratarkyam an nirdesham drishyamanam adarshanam ashtitastat vimanagryam sarvanika dipairvrita bala vyajana chatra kriyai reje chandra ivodaye. Translation. For that battle, the most celebrated commander-in-chief, Maharaj Bali, son of Virochan, was seated on a wonderful airplane named Vaihayasa. O king, this beautifully decorated airplane had been manufactured by the demon Maya and was equipped with weapons for all types of combat. It was inconceivable and indescribable. Indeed, it was sometimes visible and sometimes not. Seated in this airplane under a beautiful protective umbrella and being fanned by the best of chamaras, Maharaj Bali, surrounded by his captains and commanders, appeared just like the moon rising in the evening, illuminating all directions. Text 19 and 24. Tasyasam sarvato yanar yutanam patayo sura namuchih shambaro bano viprachitir ayomukha dvi murtha kalana bhota pahetir hetir ilvala shakunir bhuta santapo vajrandan stro virochana hayagriva shanku shira kapilo megha dundubi Tarakash Chakradrir Shumbo, Nishumbo Jamba Utkala, Arishtori Shtane Mishcha, Mayascha Tripu, Radhipa, Ane Paulona Kalyena, Nivata Kavachadaya, Alabda Bhaga Somasya, Kevalam Klesha Bhagina, Sarva Eterana Muke, Bahusho Nir Chitamara, Simhanadan Vimuchanta, Shankam Dadhu Murmaharavan, Drishtva Sapatam Ut Siktan, Balabhit Kupito Brisham. Translation. Surrounding Maharaj Bali on all sides were the commanders and captains of the demons sitting on their respective chariots. Among them were the following demons: Namuchi, Shambara, Bana, Viprachiti, Ayomukha, Dvirmurdha, Kalanabha, Praheti, Heti, Ilvala, Shakuni, Bhuta Santapa, Vajradanshtra, Virochana, Hayagriva, Shankushira, Kapila, Megadundubi, Taraka, Chakradir, Shumba, Nishumba, Jamba, Utkala, Arista, Arishtanemi. Tripu, Radipa, Maya. There's a lot of them. There are not listed all of them. The sons of Puloma, the Kalyas and Nivata Kavacha. All of these demons had been deprived of their share of the nectar and had shared merrily in the labor of churning the ocean. Now they fought against the demigods, and to encourage their armies, they made a tumultuous sound like the roaring of lions and blew loudly on conches. Balabhit, Lord Indra, upon seeing this situation of his ferocious rivals, became extremely angry. Text 25. Airavatan Aruda Shushubhe Svarat Yata Sravat Prasravanam Udayadir Aharpati. Translation. Sitting on Airavata, an elephant who can go anywhere and who holds water and wine in reserve for showering, Lord Indra looked just like the sun rising from Udayagiri, where there are reservoirs of water. Purport. On the top of the mountain called Udayagiri are large lakes from which water continuously pours on waterfalls. Similarly, Indra's carrier Airavat holds water and wine in reserve and showers it in the direction of Lord Indra. Thus Indra, king of heaven, sitting on the back of Airavat, appeared like the brilliant sun rising above Udayagiri. So we will continue with more verses. There is another purport, I think till Shloka 38. Tasyan sarvato deva nanavahadva jayuda lokapala sahaganair vaif agni varuna daya. Translation. Surrounding Lord Indra, king of heaven, were the demigods seated on various types of vehicles and decorated with flags and weapons. Present among them were Vayu, Agni, Varuna, and other rulers of various planets along with their associates. Text 27. Ten nyonyam abhi sanstriya kshipanto marmabhir mita ahvayanto vishvanto gre yuyudhur dvandva yodinaha. The demigods and demons came before each other and reproached one another with words piercing to heart. Then they drew near and began fighting face to face in pairs. Text 28. Yuyodha balir indrena tarakena guhosyata varuno hetina yutyan mitro rajan prahetina. O king, Maharaj Bali fought with Indra, Kartikeya with Taraka, Varuna with Heti, and Mitra with Praheti. 28. Yamastu kalana bhena vishvakarma mayena vai shambaro yuyudhe tvashtra savitra tu virochana. Yamaraja fought with Kalanabha, Vishvakarma with Mayadanava, Tvashtva with Shambhara, and the sun god with Virochan. 30-31. Aparajitena namuchir, Ashvinau Vrisha, Parvana, Suryobali Sutair Devo, Banajeshtai Shatenacha, Rahunacha Tata Soma, Pulomnayu Yudhenilai, Nishumba Shumbayor Devi, Badrakali Tarasvini. The demigod Aparajita fought with Namuchi, and the two Ashwini Kumara brothers fought with Vrishaparva. The sun god fought with the 100 sons of Maharaj Bali, headed by Bana, and the moon god fought with Rahu. The demigod controlling air fought with Puloma, and Shumba and Nishumba fought with the supremely powerful material energy Durga Devi, who is called Bhadrakali. 32 and 34. Vishakapistu Jambena Mahishena Vibhavasu Ilvalach Sahavatapir Brahmaputrai Arindama Kamadevena Durmarsha Utkalo Matribir Saha Brihaspatishcho Shanasa Narakena Shanaishchara Maruto Nivata Kavachai Kalierai Visavo Mara Nishvedeva Stu Paulomai Rudra Krodava Shai Saha. O Maharaj Parikshit, suppressor of enemies, Arindama, Lord Shiva fought with Jamba, and Vibhavasu fought with Mahishasura. Ilvala, along with his brother Vatapi, fought the sons of Lord Brahma. Durmarsha fought with Cupid, the demon Utkala with the Matrika, demigoddesses, Brihaspati with Shukracharya, and Shanaishchara, Saturn, with Narakasura. The Martus fought Nivata Kavacha, the Vasus fought the Kalakeya demons, the Vishvedeva demigods fought the Pauloma demons, and the Rudras fought the Krodavasha demons, who were victims of anger. 35. Ta evan ajau asura surendram, Dvandvena sanhatya cha yuyutyamana, anyonyam asadya nijak hnur ojasa, jigi savas tikshna sarasi tomarai. All of these demigods and demons assembled on the battlefield with a fighting spirit and attacked one another with great strength. All of them desiring victory, they fought in pairs, hitting one another severely with sharpened arrows, swords, and lances. 36. Bhushun dibish chakra gadarshti patishai, shakt ulmukai prasa para shvadair api, nistrin shabalai bhalai parigai samudgarai, sabin dipalaischa shiransi chi duhu. Translation. They severed one another's heads using weapons like bhushundis, chakras, clubs, rishtis, patishas, shaktis, ulmukas, prasas, parashvadhas, nistrinshas, lances, parighas, mudgaras, and bhindi palas. 37. Gajas turangah sarathah padataya, sarohavaha vividha vikandita, nikrita bahuru shirodharan karayash, chinadvajes shvasa tanutra pushana. Translation. The elephants, horses, chariots, charioteers, infantry soldiers, and various kinds of carriers, along with their riders, were slashed to pieces. The arms, thighs, necks, and legs of the soldiers were severed, and their flags, bows, armor, and ornaments were torn apart. And text 38. Tesham padagha taratanga churnitat ayodhanat ulbana utitastada renurdisha kandyuma nin cha chadayan nyavartash rik shrutibi pariplutat. Translation. Because of the impact on the ground of the legs of the demigods and demons and demigods and the wheels of the chariots, particles of dust flew violently into the sky and made a dust cloud that covered all directions of outer space as far as the sun. But when the particles of dust were followed by drops of blood being sprinkled all over space, the dust cloud could not longer float in the sky. Purport. The cloud of dust covered the entire horizon, but when drops of blood sprayed up as far as the sun, the dust cloud could not longer float in the sky. A point to be observed here is that although the blood is stated to have reached the sun, it is not said to have reached the moon. Apparently, therefore, as stated elsewhere in Srimad Bhagavatam, the sun, not the moon, is the planet nearest the earth. We have already discussed this point in many places. The sun is first, then the moon, then Mars, Jupiter, and so on. The sun is supposed to be 93 million miles above the surface of the earth, and from the Srimad Bhagavatam, we understand that the moon is 1,600,000 miles above the sun. Therefore, the distance between the earth and the moon would be about 95 million miles. So if a space capsule were traveling at the speed of 18,000 miles per hour, how could it reach the moon in 4 days? And at that speed, going to the moon would take at least 7 months. That a space capsule on a moon excursion has reached the moon in 4 days is therefore impossible. So it's still here. So it's quite a lot of verses, and this is amazing purport. So we can see that the battlefield was quite heavy. There were mentioned several animals, like even like Timingala. So it means that, yeah, they were like fighting. Also looks like in the water. So it's like quite heavy fight, and we can see in this verse were mentioned like the dust mixed with the blood start to be like so heavy that it's like you cannot even imagine. It's like to see or observe such a fight. If we will even like come closer, most probably we will be like we will run away. Even we will like see like fighters like mentioned here. Most probably we will hear them from sitting even here. We will hear them like coming from behind the hills, like they walking and like even like fighting on elephants and horses. It has to be quite heavy. It's interesting that everyone like find equal like super like opponent. Yeah, they don't like fight with someone who maybe was like less weapons or something like that. So it's like very interesting like description. And then we come to this purport, which is like quite controversial, and I mean like controversial in a thing that what is present in nowadays in society. Prabhupada said like something completely else that we heard like in the 69, like July the 69. It was the small step for the man, but big step for the humanity. And we can see like how this big step was, that after a few decades like so many hoax and controversial, even like the valuable billion stones suddenly disappear, and also like all the documentary like somehow disappear. I mean, like when you have something which is like very, very valuable, or you like spend billions and billions of dollars, you try to keep it safe in some treasure or in somewhere like very good. You will try to find very good place for that. But we can see that is like most probably not so important going on the moon, because as Prabhupada said, and we can read a little bit of that, they never been on the moon. The failure of modern moon excursionists may be due to the Rahu planet. In other words, those who are supposed to be going to the moon may actually be going to this invisible planet Rahu. Actually, they are not going to the moon, but to the planet Rahu, and after reaching this planet, they desired for material enjoyment, and he has to transmigrate from one gross body to another until these desires are exhausted. It's in 4th canto. Prabhupada: it is a common sense affair that if somebody takes the trouble of doing so many things for the last 10 or 20 years and go there and touch the moon planet, come back, it is successful. So it may be complacence for him, but I don't think it is success. Why should I take so much trouble to touch the moon planet, come back? I have no useless time for that thing. Reporter: well, I think that what you are saying, it is also not strictly impossible for someone to go there and be able to come back, that many conditions would have to change for them to do that, but you wouldn't rule out of as impossible. Is that right? Prabhupada: no. Actually, if anyone goes there, he will not like to come back. Otherwise, he will give false information that I went there and touched it and came back. Among the planets, the first is Surya, the sun, not the moon. Therefore, according to the Vedic version, the modern astronomers' proposition that the moon is nearest to the earth should not be accepted. The chronological order in which people all over the world refer to the days of the week: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, corresponds to the Vedic order of the planets and thus circumstantiates the Vedic version. It's quite interesting. Sunday, Moon Day. It is understood from this verse that the predominating deity of the moon is the maintainer of all the trees and plants throughout the universe. It is due to the moonshine that trees and plants grow very luxuriantly. Therefore, how can we accept the so-called scientists whose moon expeditions have informed us that there are no trees or vegetation on the moon? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Somo Vikra Dishtata Sa Eva Vrikshanam Raja. Soma, the predominating deity of the moon, is the king of all vegetation. How can we believe that in the maintainer of vegetation has no vegetation on its own planet? So moon is not desert. There are simply rascals. They do not know anything, and rascals believe that the moon is desert and the sun is desert. Only this planet is full of variety and beauty. No, we have to take lessons from the Shastras. From the descriptions in this verse, we can make an educated guess about the nature of the flames on the moon. Like the sun, the moon must also be full of flames, because without flames there cannot be illumination. The flames on the moon, however, unlike those on the sun, must be mild and pleasing. This is our conviction. The modern theory that the moon is full of dust is not accepted in the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. Guru Kripa. The all-American family. If the moon is illuminating the earth at night, then how come you have brought back dull pieces of rock? They should have also been shining, Prabhupada. Yes, that's a common sense. Shutakirti. The planets are not orbiting the sun, Prabhupada. No, they have got the different orbits, Guru Kripa. This is real science to know these facts, Prabhupada. Yes. Guru Kripa. So how can we prove that? Prabhupada, Vedic literature. Prabhupada. They invented stories for going to the moon planet, Svarup Damodar. Yeah, they are making stories about everything. Prabhupada. A small toy Sputnik, background, a big picture and photograph. When you look a little bit on internet, you will find like the whole story with Kubrick. Yeah, and how he like this Space Odyssey, how he like make this whole film like day before in '68, and how it's like become famous and looks like that many of these shots what he did the year before were actually used like later as a proof of this moon landing. Is quite interesting. You'll find, I think, millions and millions of like things on internet, how like the flag is floating and like there's no wind there and a shadow and this, and on this like Apollo is like some sea. There's like so many, and then you'll find also pictures from studio where they like were recording these astronauts, and then like some like something behind like falling down. It's quite funny. We can also see like the at that 68, 69, it was like US war in the fighting in like Vietnam War, and actually the whole like vision of government and like the trust in government was like very low. Like no one likes like government is like sending their sons to die in the like battlefield of Vietnam. So no one likes like this US propaganda. So is like this demonic like mind and consciousness thinking, okay, how can we make like now it a little better? So it's actually a very good step, very like very intelligent, like to make propaganda. Oh, we US, we are the winners. We are like the best. Look on like what we did. So it's actually quite interesting. If we believe on hoax or don't believe in hoax, and I mean like for devotees, we don't care. We just we are following what is written in Shastra, because we accepted knowledge which is coming from higher authorities. We don't create answer like own theories and then presenting into the higher sources. So we can see quite clearly like that even Prabhupada, he mentioned somewhere else that even if they will land to the moon, maybe they land into some part which was like desert, like when you land, someone will land in the earth.
Sahara.
Yeah, and you land in Sahara, then you don't see anything. But many places Prabhupada said quite clearly that they landed somewhere else. It's like not possible to travel to moon like just in a short time, and actually will take much more longer time. And for many living, it's actually not even possible to enter with this body, even with scaphandre, to another planets. It's this easy journey to other planets. You can see like what are the qualifications to travel to other planets. Prabhupada, So this is also the position of stone. So better you remain a stone, but I am life. The stone does not believe in anything and still it is happy. So you remain a stone. I am not stone, I am life. Jadvaita. There is a verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita that without Lord Chaitanya there is no life. Achaitanya. Prabhupada. Achaitanya, yes. Bahulasva. So this dark planet then is closer? Prabhupada. Bahulasva. This dark Rahu planet, this is closer? Prabhupada. Rahu, yes. Rahu is between Earth and Sun. Moon is about Sun. Devotee. So it is bigger than the Sun? Prabhupada. Not necessarily. The size is there in the Bhagavata. Paramahamsa. In Stockholm, Prabhupada, in the museum, they have a whole room, and in the room there is all this American flag and Swedish flag, and there is a whole exhibit with one teeny little rock about as big as my fingernail that the Americans gave the Swedish. It's supposed to be a rock from the moon, and they said that it is exactly as any kind of rock that you will find on earth. I'm laughing. Prabhupada. They say it's simply cheating. They found this in Arizona. Somebody. And a laboratory work. So we can see, like, if you there's a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam that whatever actions a great man performs, common men follow, and whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world possesses. Yadat acharita shestas tatat evataro jana sayat paramanam kurute lokas tat anuvartate. So we also should know in who we follow and who persons we trust. It's very easy to accept so many things all around. And it's like so many conspiracy. You can see moon landing, and then we hear about this recently, few, it's almost maybe decades or even more, and these twins fall down, and so many buildings around fall down, even not airplane touch them, and unfortunately it was the biggest money treasure in USA, who few blocks also fall down, but no one reported that. But it's they lost billions on billions of dollars suddenly because everyone was focused on the twins. So we can see these demonic leaders and their propaganda and what they are proposing. It's not just for, it's just how to enjoy more, how to squeeze this material nature more. And definitely they are not interested in any of some spiritual or even some values, real values which can be followed. Because they are interested only their senses are not controlled. And we have another sages or saintly persons who showing or giving example, and they are quoting very clearly how these things as they are, as Bhagavad Gita, as it is. It's not so many translations of Bhagavad Gitas, but there is only one as it is. So we as a devotee, we try to find the real source as it is, without any changes or without any some another ism or another theories, like Darwin, Freud, Jung, Marx, so many nice theories and isms. And I can also, myself, I can create another ism, Jivanandaism or something, and I'm very serious, it's a serious thing. You should be serious. I can create my own theory, my own philosophy. And I can create it in such a level, then I will convince you that this is true. Like Darwin did. Actually, Darwin, he didn't did that. But his followers or people created, or even when we look on forbidden archaeology, we can find so many proofs that this life is much more older. But if you start to showing this proof, artifacts, art, and so on, it doesn't like somehow match to already what is teaching, what they are learning in the schools, what they profane in universities, what is like academic fields and so on. So this is like all will be collapsed. All this so-called education and all these like theories will be like doesn't work. So it will be quite dangerous. It's very dangerous. It will be like I say like they are brainwashed. They completely brainwashed these Hare Krishnas. They are speaking about like some completely nonsense philosophies. So, I mean, like rather be brainwashed of all of these dirty things, what we were learned or teach, what they teach us from the childhood, all these like crazy things, really crazy things, that your grandparents were like coming from gorillas or monkeys or whatever, and actually when you go more back, you will. Where is the like some part between, like something between the gorillas and humans? It's just disappear. Like
Missing link.
Yeah, missing link. And even like scientists nowadays, they're coming more and more like to the conclusion. They even like with the perfect like they have the perfect like how you call it this microscope and everything. They were more and more better microscopes, and they can see more and more details what is there, and more details what is inside the smallest things, more and more like, and they are like surprised more and more, like what is there. They didn't have knowledge, and also they are changing the theories. But in the future, they will show how it's working. As like they will in the future, we will show you, and in the future we will know how all these things are working. But there is no God. It's definitely like you should trust into what we are presenting. So thank you very much for your attention, and that you survived this battlefield, and hopefully hopefully we can also take something from what Prabhupada is saying, and it's a very interesting like to see the whole, like when we have nowadays in Mayapur, in Sridham Mayapur, the Vedic planetarium. So there should be actually like a Vedic vision of how it is like all these planets like floating around the Earth. There is like few theories like geocentric, heliocentric, but we try to follow like what is coming from the Vedic scriptures, and it's like very